So guys, I wanted to talk to you today about the different options you have in terms of when you'll be presenting. So at this point, you should have 4 completed sources, 2 from an academic database and 2 from just a Google search. And now what you'll be doing is you'll be taking those sources and the information you learned, and you'll be presenting about your civil rights project or movement. Okay. And so I wanted to give you a bunch of different options. I know that when I first introduced this assignment, I said you could either do a PechaKucha or you could do a graphic novel, and you still can. You can do one of those 2 things, that's fine. However, I am opening it up to other options that are perfectly acceptable as well. So I wanted to talk about my rubric. Here is what is at stake. 40 points total, 16 points for credible source, 10 points for the information that you share, 10 points for your presentation, and then 4 points if your sources are in MLA format. If they're not in MLA format, you'll lose 0 points there. I wanted to emphasize the credible sources. So remember, the whole point of this assignment was to make sure that you guys have sources that would be credible, things that would, be able to handle scrutiny. And so if your source is not credible, you'll lose all points for that source. So that's something to keep in mind and make sure that you're doing, is that your sources are credible. The information you share, you need to be able to answer each and every single one of those questions completely. And you should have a sufficient amount of information. Your presentation should basically be the equivalent of 3 to 4 minutes long. If you do not hit that 3 to 4 minutes, then not only will your presentation score be docked, but your information score will be docked as well, because that tells me that you didn't have enough information to share. So one option you can do is you can do a video. The video would be 3 to 4 minutes long. It would consist of all your information that you need. So you would be in the video, you would answer each and every single question that is in the research project. And then either in the credits or on a separate piece of paper, your works are cited. You could do a poem or a song. I've never had any students do this, but you could theoretically do this. It would be 3 to 4 minutes long. Again, in the poem or song, you would be sharing your information about your movement, and then you'd have your work cited. Now, here's the most popular choice. Usually is either a PowerPoint or a Prezi. This is why there's more requirements, just because I know most of you will pick this option here. So if you're doing a PowerPoint or a Prezi, you will need to have a title page. On that title page, you will need to have the name of the movement as well as your name and a picture. So 3 things: name of the movement, your name, and a picture. On each slide, you'll have 1 slide dedicated to each question. So there's 4 questions. So you would have 4 slides dedicated to those questions, plus the title slide. That would be 5 slides. Number 3 is really important to me, is I do not want your title slides, your slides in general, I don't want it to be crowded with a bunch of different words on it. So you want to make sure that you only have up to 75 words on your slides. Okay. PowerPoint presentation slides are just meant to be expounded upon. They're a visual cue for your audience as well as for you, but they are not something that you should just read directly from. And then you should have a citation at the bottom of the slide, on each slide, or you can have a citation slide itself where you'd have all your citations. So you either have 5 slides, 4 slides dedicated to each question, and then 1 title slide, or you can have 6 slides where you would have a title slide, 4 slides for each question, and then a slide that consists of all of your citations. And then again, the presentation will need to be 3 to 4 minutes long. So I wanted to show you an example of what this could look like. So here's my title slide, Civil Rights by McKay Campbell. And then there's a picture, right? So my 3 things for a title slide. And then after that, I go into my questions. There's a question about like did your movement begin? Here is my slide dedicated to that question. I have a bulleted list. And again, this bulleted list is mostly supposed to be just like a visual cue for my audience. I'm not supposed to be just directly reading from it, but rather expounding on each point. So I won't just read, most countries have legitimized civil rights and Bill of Rights, right? Rather, I would say, in our modern era, most sovereign countries have a legitimized lawful civil rights within their constitutions. The equivalent in America would be our Bill of Rights or our constitutional amendments. However, there's been a violation of civil rights in America really since the beginning of the country, whether that be obviously our slavery laws or after the Civil War, our Jim Crow laws in the South. Right, so like I'm not just reading off of these bulleted points. I'm expounding on each and every single one of them. I am sharing with you guys things that you didn't know that you couldn't just get from reading from my presentation. And then if you look down here at the bottom, I have my citation. This citation right here tells you that all this information came from this source. And as you can see, this source is cited in MLA format. The first line is not indented, the rest of the lines are. You want to make sure your slides look like that as well. Okay, so that is a presentation slide. Now, I want to be clear here. Your presentation can take a lot of different forms, and you can definitely do a PowerPoint like this. But I will say that the more creative you are, the more likely it is you get a better score. Right? I like originality. I think that's important to the learning process, is taking things, molding it into your own sort of certain learning personal style, and then owning it, right? When you're original, you own these things. So PowerPoint, is great if you can make it neat and nice and things like that, but I'm just a little more critical of them. If you do Prezi, I feel like that's more like the more original, creative way of a PowerPoint. Poem or song, that'd be cool. I had a student do a video before, and I really enjoyed it. Pechakuchas are great, right? So I'm just saying, try to be as original and creative as you possibly can. I also wanted to mention, you can do an info chart. If you just go to piktochart.com, you could just do an info chart through Piktochart. That's great. But yeah, you're going to do a presentation. It needs to adhere to the principles outlined in this PowerPoint. This PowerPoint will be viewable for you guys on the overview page, but that is your work. So Friday, I expect you to be working this on Friday. I will give you time on Tuesday, and then Thursday is the day we will be presenting. So Thursday of next week will be a mandatory day. Anyways, if you have questions, feel free to email me, let me know, but that is what we'll be doing for the next couple days. All right, see ya.